go.
Hello.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi. Yeah, I think I'd like to crack on. What I've done, what I wanted to chat to you about, I've been pitching for almost a year now, and I've not had any success really. So I wondered if we could just go through one of my pitches.
Yes,
If you
very
give
much
me
so.
some. Okay, let me just scroll that slightly. So
Perfect.
this is actually to a small mom and pop organisation, you'd say, in Oxford. They sell beer and records. Slightly interesting. I thought I'd just let you have a look at that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think you had me at beer and music is fun. And you talk about combining beer and music, a winning combination, and you'll pop in next time you're on Cowley Road. I don't know that I would necessarily lead with the fact that you haven't been in yet, right?
Right.
But here's where it turns a corner. You go right into, and I'm an Oxford-based copywriter focusing on helping small businesses, and I'd love to help you. And here is what can be so confusing for copywriters, for new copywriters, especially when it comes to pitching. In everything, in all of the copy that we're writing, I know we focus on benefits, we focus on being upfront, and we talk about, I can help you. But in the pitching, it's very, very different. You want to strip out anything that is remotely salesy, anything that comes across as I'm trying to sell myself to you. Because as soon as people get to that point, they go, oh, this is a pitch. And nobody wants to hear a pitch. But what they do want is they want to hear some enthusiasm about what they're doing. And they want to hear or they should say they're open to ideas about how to benefit their business. So it's very tricky to actually pull out all of the salesiness, but it's essential.
Okay.
People often look for suggestions about tomatoes, especially could your website accept reviews and ratings on your beers? They could be powerful. Do
you mind scrolling just a tad?
So the interesting thing you mentioned, people often look for suggestions about what to buy, especially when it's a beer they've not tried before. Very true. Accepting reviews and ratings on beers on the website, that's not something you can help them out with as a copywriter, right? Yeah, I mean, that's a whole big tech thing that they would have to build out.
Sure. It's a great idea, but
it is.
It's also something that they could be like, oh, great idea, I'm going to implement it with, versus something like, do they send emails at all? Do they have a place to, and then you could suggest, hey, by telling your customers about new beers you've got in the shop, they might get them back in and coming more. And then, getting repeat customers, again, bottom line connection, it'll help boost sales. So something that, you could tie in the ratings and, where you say people often look for suggestions about what to buy. If they're not sending emails about what new beers and what the flavor profile is like and why people should come and why they might enjoy it, that could be a great suggestion, because then you're suggesting, hey, you could do this, not telling you how to do it. And I'm not telling you what words to write.
Yeah, it's the actual flow of a pitch is relatively simple, but I think because it's so simple, people want to add things onto it. Yeah. So you start with something that you really genuinely like about their business, and something that will show that you've taken the time to learn about them. Combining beer and music as a winning combination. Well, yeah, it is. But so many other pubs and bars and clubs and that kind of thing do that. So what makes this, and I don't know if Cowley Road is near you, but if it's, if you're able to, I would go in, have a beer, experience, and say, hey, I was in the other day, I had a great insert name of beer and chatted with so-and-so behind the bar. Really love what you're doing. As I was looking at your website, I noticed that if you did this, it would insert way that it would benefit your business. You always have to spell out for them exactly how it's going to benefit their business. Otherwise, they're not going to make that connection on their own. So genuinely, thing I genuinely liked, hey, I had this idea. Here's how it would benefit you. I've actually had a couple of other ideas too. I'm actually an Oxford-based copywriter. And if you're interested, I'd love to chat more with you about this idea and some other ones I've had.
Sell them on the idea first before they know that you're a copywriter and can help them with it. And just to add to that, I think the power of a pitch is often in that specificity, not making it longer, but like, for example, the beer aspect. Do they sell a beer that other shops don't sell that you're like, hey, I love that, you know, my favorite beer is Delirium and not every shop sells it. So it'd be like, I'm so glad to see that you have that. Like, it's my favorite, done, or whatever, you know, not that wording, but that idea of like, you knew that they had a specific beer or specific record or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think this is really good stuff. So
and you know, you have a great start here.
It is,
it's
moving some things around and
and
dialing it in.
And taking off the marketer hat, which is such a funny thing to do as a copywriter. In this one area, we want to not be selling as much as possible, because when we're not selling, it's the difference between showing up, and I use this metaphor, Kate, all the time, but it's the difference between showing up on somebody's porch and saying, hey, you know, knocking a stranger's door and saying, hey, here's a gift for you, and showing up on somebody's door, them opening the door, and you say, I have a vacuum cleaner I'd like to sell you. That's two. One, you're going to get a great reaction, and the other, you're going to get the door slammed in your face. You know, and so we want
the other thing I would say too, as you have you pitched what types of business, I guess, have you pitched a range of businesses? I imagine you have, but I'm just something to think about, I guess, with who you're pitching, to make sure it's a good variety of, you know, mom and pop.
I've tended to look around Oxford itself, where I live. I can actually go there if necessary, and Oxford is quite a cosmopolitan place. You've got all sorts of businesses here, which is just great. So it's been right across the board. I have looked at some software companies, people I thought would want, would have customers who would want copy written for them. So I'm like one step back, and I've had some interest there, no actual work, but some interest. But I think this session's really helpful, actually. So
good. It's just like, keep expanding that search even, and take it beyond, you know, pitch the university. They certainly need a copywriter.
I work there.
Oh, no kidding. Okay. See who is in the marketing department. See if you can take on some projects. They might have overflow work
for them at the moment.
Perfect.
Repitch
them. See if there are other ideas you can. I worked in higher ed, so I'm like,
they need it. To Kate's point, just switching up what types of businesses will help. If you find, because there are just some towns or some areas where, for whatever reason, the local mom and pop shops they're like, what is that? It takes them a little bit longer to come around to it. But when you're pitching some of the local mom and pop shops, as well as some software companies, some insert any other type of industry. And if you haven't, or haven't maybe even watched it recently, go back to the Pitchapalooza, where we talk about how to start kind of brainstorming and making that list of potential companies, so that you kind of, it's probably the one time Kate and I will tell you to go down a rabbit hole and really just make a list of all different kinds of companies that you could get in touch with.
Well, if you're working
I found Google Maps quite helpful.
Super helpful.
What's there, it gives you a complete mix, which I think is good for learning, if nothing else.
And then branch out beyond, right? Branch out outside of Oxford, outside of really the area, outside of the country, you know.
And if you tap, not again, you know us and niches and our feelings on that, but if you have experience in writing newsletters at the university, look at other universities that you could pitch your service just as a one angle of, or one group, I should say, of people you're pitching, in addition to your other folks.
As long as your current job wouldn't consider it a competitor.
True. Yes.
But,
I don't want to make you lose your job, Kevin. I'm sorry.
I'm working as a sidepreneur at the moment. I'm working full time and doing this part time. That's great.
That's a good way to do it. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Get them to bring you on for more projects.
Thank you very much for that. I think this has been really helpful.
Good.
I get the recording, and I'll go through this. I think it's really good. Thank you.
Super.
Awesome.
You were so welcome. So welcome. Like what you heard? Hit subscribe so you never miss a video. And if you're ready to take the first step toward becoming a copywriter yourself, sign up for a free video training right here.